Hello, this is another video. Good afternoon. I do it from inside my car today because as you can see it's very windy. Otherwise, because of the wind you won't hear me or anything. Today I wanted to talk about a little bit of a philosophical topic. And this topic can go in multiple directions, because first you have to ask yourself, what are we, Are we digital? Are we organic? Are we from outer space? Like what is our reality actually? You know, think about it. For now, I wanted to discuss this. You know, I think one of the possibilities how life on Earth came to be like it is today is we are on the same state as we are right now. Like, look at all the buildings, and we just keep expanding, and we don't have this limit. Like we should actually stop reproducing at these numbers. I don't. You know what I find very weird? The government is always stressing about like that 2.1. Replacement number. Otherwise society collapse. They say, but I think it's a normal course of action, to actually have less humans at this point. The Earth is only so big, and it can only sustain the X amount of people. Like even the resources are unevenly distributed. Some people go hungry, some people they have abundance of resources. This is a whole other topic, but anyway, we actually reach this point where we consume more than we produce. Think about it. That's actually also why the prices are going up. Everything is becoming scarce. Not right now. The supermarkets are still stocked with everything you need, but we actually reach the point, the tipping point, that we produce more than that we consume. There's a dangerous reality that we are living in. Because look at the movies, look at how things play out. As soon as people go hungry, as soon as the basic thing falls apart, the structure of society, the supermarkets, the stocks are not even stacked anymore. We had this with the COVID, with the toilet paper. It's not even a basic necessity. You can shower, to clean your ass or whatever. Like toilet paper. There's going to be a scarcity of toilet paper. People were almost bashing each other's skulls in to get some toilet paper. People were rushing to the store. The easily manipulated one. I just stayed at home. There was no toilet paper shortage in the end. But people are easily manipulated like that. They just believe anything the media shovels down their throat. Okay, so back to one of my theories how life became on Earth. Okay, let's say like this: the Milky Way exists. There are other planets. This is one of them that is habitable for a species. And we reach the tipping point, like, and there's nothing that's gonna stop the tipping point. There's no, this is a very drastic measure, but no government controlling on the birth rates, like no selective breeding, that like the smart people reproduce more than the stupid ones, because now it's the other way around. The stupid people, they reproduce way more than the smart ones. So in general, our species is becoming dumber and dumber. So yeah, we reached this point. Our technology is as advanced as it is right now, and we have these billionaires, right? And they know the time is ticking. The Earth is warming up. We fucked it up. Everything is polluted. The Earth is dying. Basically what's kind of happening right now. But we have this technology, like the NASA guys, the space guys, they found like a habitable planet, like X amount of light years away. We developed this technology to get there. We built the spaceships to get there, but this spaceship that can't host our entire human population, right? So it's gonna be the rich and the powerful and the lucky few that's gonna be on board, like things that we need to. We have movies about this, like things that we need to keep society sustainable. They get on that spaceship and they get to a new Earth. Let's say this happened before on another Earth, other planet, and we came to Earth. Our spaceships, they landed in Africa, let's say, and then we returned to tribalism because, we're with a small population, let's say maybe a couple 100,000, not even. We land on this new planet and we get back to tribalism because I don't like you, you don't like me. I'm gonna govern myself and you're gonna govern me. You're not gonna govern me, so people piss off to like the different corners of that planet. Same as happened over here, and that's actually also why you get different races. Maybe this is one of my theories, right? This is not proven or anything, it's just a theory. So you get different races, and those different races, they are there because of the climate, like for example here in the Europe we become white because we have less sun, we have strong winters, like, so whenever the sun shines, our skin really needs to take that in. In Africa they stay they turn black or they stayed black. I don't know which color they are when they get on that spaceship, and that's why they look different like that, like the Asians, like with the eyes, they maybe they were like with strong desert winds or something. Eventually, nature adapts to the environment like that. And the languages, this is also a thing, this is even what kids do, like they invent like the hidden language together so they can say things that the adults don't understand or something. They invent like made up words and all that stuff. And this they also happens because it's the code language, like if you are on the different corners of the planet and there's this other tribe, you don't want them to know what you're saying, you don't want them to know what you're discussing, so you get different languages. And eventually, like what the land has to offer, like maybe that's also the reason why the Muslims say, oh, we can't eat pork, because there were no pigs in the desert. We had some goats, they had some cows, and as soon as they see a pig, they think like, oh, they are eating that animal, like because same as when you travel to another country and you eat different food, your stomach gets upset, because it's not used to those ingredients. They, for example, ancient times, they eat the pork, they get sick, so they blame the pork as being an evil animal, blah 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 blah. Just a theory, right? And this is how it branches off, and it as long as time progresses, it's gonna be even more individualized, and then you have the infighting in the tribes, you even have infighting in families, like this is just human nature. So that branches off, that's why you have like for example here in Eastern Europe you have the Slavic people, but they have so many different languages, like they are kind of similar, but they're still different, just a different grammatica, dialect, whatever you want to call it. You even have that in provinces, just the way people pronounce things. So yeah, this is one of my theories how life came to Earth. Because yeah, let's not talk about the other possibilities, like I make some other videos about that, but that is a possibility that doesn't sound too far-fetched for me, it sounds actually quite logical because we're reaching that point again. That the earth is dying, it's running out, the rich and lucky few, they get the technology together, the spaceships, we find another planet, and the cycle starts all over again. Think about it. Let it enlighten you, like to think outside of the box. What could have been, like don't believe anything that you've been taught, question everything. That's the most important part. Because people sometimes they just believe everything they hear on the news or in the media or maybe what I tell you. No, stay critical, question everything. That's how you stay awake and ahead, because nothing is real, nothing is what it seems, like even if they want to tell you like, hey, this is how it is, question it, did it really happen like that, like even like some major event, like did it really happen like that, or why did it happen, even why did it happen now or then, stay critical. That's what I'm gonna close off with today. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ is King. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.